Hey, I want to come to you today, this special video. I want to really tell you about this dream that I had, right? I'm a dreamer. I've been a dreamer. It's one of the gifts that God has given me. And so when I dream, I always, write them down. But this one here, I felt compelled to share. I checked with my wife and a couple of close people to me, and they really conferred that I should share this. So I want to do that. So the dream, today's day is April the 4th, 2023. I had a dream last night, April the 3rd, 4th, in between that time period, 2023. Very vivid, extremely surreal in the sense of, there are various types of dreams. Some dreams you're in, some dreams you watch. This one was one that I was in, but at the same time I could visually see everything that was going on. And so it started off like it was martial law. It was like police or military, and they initially started in the inner cities, right? And the reason I said it was the inner city because it reminded me of the neighborhood I grew up in. And so I got it here, I wrote it down, so I won't miss any details, but it started off with that. But it was martial law, it was police coming, and they were coming at a rapid pace. The police, the military that I saw here, and later in the dream, they all had on the same color, the color black. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have on black when it's come to pass, but that just means they were uniform and they were in concert, or they had the same agenda or under the same rule or authority, right? But it did have on black. And so it seemed like it happened without warning or without provocation. But it seemed like it happened in such a rapid manner. And I was telling the people, I said, we need to get out of here. Here comes, I see the police and the military. And with the swiftness and the force that they were coming, I was telling people we need to leave, but some people were still going about their own, business, like they were, driving at a normal rate. I saw people walking to their homes, and people were still just, there wasn't an urgency in everyone. Some of the people there were urgency with, but others it was not. Some people were running into their homes, and some people were driving fast, but others were just casually going along, and there was no urgency. And so I had to leave some people behind. And so we ended up leaving and going from that particular place where we at. But I did keep telling people that, and I was pointing out the military, and I was like, looking over there, and they still had no urgency about themselves. People began to arm themselves and resist, but they definitely were met with force. I myself found myself in a dream at times. I was armed, like heavily armed, like had like a backpack. Or I remember carrying something with me as we were going along through various points in the dream. Now there was like this new government set up, right? I don't know who was ruling the government. I don't know the connection and how big the government was, but one thing I do know, the government, it was highly evolved, and it was extremely technologically advanced, right, in their weaponry and in the various things that I saw throughout the dream. It was like their vehicles, and also it was like they had a hand up on the people, like a lot of this is coming to me now. It's like they had reserved this special technology that they had all the time. It wasn't like it was a future technology brought into, so like say this 2023, it wasn't like it was a 2033 technology, but it was like something they had in the entire time that they reserved for themselves, that they had it, and they were well equipped on how to use it. And then I saw that there were like these detectors in certain areas, right? Or like certain buildings. I can't remember we were going up some stairs, not like a stairway in a house, but like a stairway into like an entrance. So I don't know if we were going into a building or a house at this particular time or to another section of the city, but I do remember these detectors. And I remember like someone, I don't know if it was the military or the police, but it was an authoritative figure, told one of the people with us, was like, hey, check yourself on the detector, right? And, all of us, I could feel like the anxiety and the nervousness in the dream of the group I was with, because this detector was something that was going to put you in a particular category. And actually and so the gentleman that was with me, I remember he was very, vivid, dark-skinned gentleman, had like dreads, not too long, not too short, but they were long enough to be tied like in a rubber band, kind of a ponytail style. And so, he was hesitant to go up, but he went up to it and he put his face there, and it's like, like he stuck his tongue out. Like you go to the doctor and they put, stick on there and tell you to say so they can see if you're sick or something like that. That's what it was. So he did it, and of course, like I said, I can feel the anxiety and nerves of the group. But he passed it. So I don't know if there's going to be some new germ warfare or some type of new disease release. But I did see that, and it reminded me of the medical, like I said, like when you go to the doctor, it reminded me of the medical exam you take, routinely through the doctor. But his face was there, but also he had to like stick his tongue out. But he passed it, and so I remember he passed it. It was a relief upon everybody. And so we kind of hurried along and went past this particular, like a checkpoint or whatever it is, and went to the next, wherever we were going. Let me see. Oh yeah, I don't remember anybody else doing it in a group, in a dream, or being asked to do it. So it wasn't like it wasn't something that it was a mandatory check, but maybe a routine or something that it's done, randomly, like a random screening. But I know once he went past it, I assume, and this is just my assumption, that they felt like the entire group was safe or had passed this particular test, and we went on. I remember seeing this Nike building, right? And this is one of the things that let me know how advanced the technology was. I remember this building, and it was like a building I had never seen before, but it was very like technologically advanced. I remember looking up to it. It was probably at least 3 stories high. There's a Nike building in New York. I remember that, but that, being a tall building, just going visiting, but this was different. As in the outside, it was like this, metallic finish, but I did see the swoosh there, and then we went inside the building with the group I was in, and you had to pay with some new form of currency. It was like, I want to say it seemed like it was maybe. At first, I thought it was abandoned, but then I later came to realize that the store was run by AI technology, right? And I was looking at and the reason I figured that it was not abandoned in the dream, because we didn't like take the shoes, and we didn't try to take them and put them in our backpack or carry them. No, we went to this register, and we went to this register, and I remember the gentleman, the shoe ran up. I forgot the price. The price on it, but he didn't have exact the amount needed to pay for it, right? And so when he went to pay for it, he didn't have the amount. He went around to the computer, and he started typing to put a code in, and we was like, he was like, man, I used to work here, and so I assume again, this is an assumption that he worked there previously before the AI technology took over, right? Because he put a code in, and he had enough money to pay for. I say money, but there was a different form of currency in this dream. And one thing that let me know that, because I wanted to get some shoes. I was like, I love shoes. We love shoes. My family. I wanted to get me some shoes, and I was like, man, I was asking everybody. I was like, man, I'm always, I'm hustling. I can, I know how to get money, but they was like, no, this is different. This is a different currency, right? And for whatever reason, I guess maybe the show, maybe the Lord was revealing to me on how that was going to be a currency switch, that the currency I have now in the current time, 2023, was not the same currency that was being used in the dream, right? And so that is one of the things of my interpretation of the dream, of what I saw. But I know I didn't have enough money to get there. But I know the store was run by like an artificial intelligence thing. But I remember we were free, and as free as we can be. We weren't not under some type of we weren't prisoners per se. We were interacting with other people. Like I said, we interacted with the people at the scanner, the detector. We interacted with the people. Well, we went to the store, in the Nike store, and I remember, like I said, it was technology there, cameras and things. So we weren't like hiding our face. But anytime we did accost or come in contact with police, I remember one instance, and this was like after the Nike part. We were leaving, and we looked over, and it was like police in combat or military. They were like apprehending some people, right? Arresting some people. I don't really know, but I do remember various parts of the dream. Like in the beginning, people were getting shot. Some people were getting beat. And then later on in this part of the dream, the people, they were actually getting beat, kind of, brutality type of situation. But the people, they weren't helpless, right? And so people were not fearful of the military or the police, because I remember a gentleman in the group with I won't say his name, but I know his face. He's like a hothead. And I remember him running away from where we were, going over there to help the police. And I looked at the one person with him, he was like, man, you know how he is. And so we just kept going on to where we were going. And so like I said, we were going to I know there was like places you stay, safe zone, different things like that. But he ran over there to assist the people. We was like, urgent, like we gotta get to where we're going. I don't know if it was curfew or we just had to get to a place that was safe. I can't say that with certainty, but I know that we didn't go over to help him. They was like, he's gonna be all right. At that time, the police, like I said, I didn't see any guns or anybody being shot, but the people were being beaten and being abused. And so we just kept going to where we were going. And I'll just leave you with this. I don't want to add too much to it. I may come back and do a part two. I'm not sure if I remember more, but this is really the gist and most of the details of the dream. I remember, specifically, as a whole, I was not scared, but I was constantly watching my surroundings and just, we say put your head on the swivel, but I was continually, watching my surroundings and where we were going. But it wasn't like we were particularly running away from any type of police, but we were avoiding conflict and contact. And so just like back when we had the detectives, like I don't remember that being police, but I do remember it being an authoritative figure, as if, or maybe a person of a different class, because the gentleman that was with us, we knew that he had to oblige and he had to submit to this request, even though, like I said, it wasn't necessarily a police or a military command. But, he scanned his face, like I said, stuck his tongue out with that. Again, the people were not afraid of the police, military. They resisted and fought back. Some people were, killed, and others were beaten, but, it was an aggressive type of taking over. Again, at the beginning, the police were going into residential areas. It was not commercial areas, right? It was residential areas that they were going in first. And I can't say for certain what the agenda was, or I can't say for certain what their purpose was. And what I mean by that, I can't say they were going to apprehend people. I can't say that they were going to arrest people. I can't say that they were going to kill people. But in the melee and throughout the interaction, people were killed and people were beaten. But I don't know why they did it, but I do remember it was kind of like off guard, and all of a sudden, there may have been a warning, there may have been rumblings, because I do remember us like looking down. We were on the hill and looking at the people at the beginning, and I remember we were in a place where we we gotta go, we gotta hurry up and get out of here, right? And so maybe that was to restore order or to put the rule in place. But I don't want to add anything to it. Don't want to take anything away. That was the dream. In times I felt like I want to share it. So be in prayer for us, our ministry. We'll be in prayer for you. Let's pray together as collective body of believers, wherever you're watching this from. Let's pray that we will be prepared. I do want to say this, that we are rapidly approaching the end times, as in the end of the time of this age, before the second coming of Christ. And I want to let us know that there should be an urgency to fulfill the call of God on all of our lives, whatever God has called us to do. Some things God has showed me about the end time. I may share it at a later date, but I know we're rapidly approaching that time period. Also, I want you to have 100% confidence, 100% hope as believers that God is going to be with us through whatever happens, through whatever occurs, right? The Bible tells us that God does nothing without first revealing his secrets to his prophets. So there is going to be warnings, right? And then there's going to be insight and intel that's going to be given to the body of Christ as we approach these days. And special wisdom that God is going to give us. I felt the Holy Ghost really telling us that what we need to watch is the currency that's going on. We need to not be so dependent on worldly currency. And it's not even about the United States currency, the euro, all of these different currencies, gold, crypto. We need to be dependent on the currency of the kingdom, right? And there are various currencies in the kingdom. One of them is faith, right? That I've been talking about, but that's one thing we need to do. On the flip side of that, we are Christians. We are in the kingdom, but also we live in the world. You should educate, take note, and prepare yourself financially, whichever way the Lord leads you to do that. And this is not financial advice. You please seek your CPA, tax strategist, tax person, financial advisor, whoever is in your circle or in your group church who you trust financially. Seek their advice. I always tell people, read, research, read, right? It's important to always read twice, whatever you're researching. But look and be aware of the currency, right? Make sure, if at all possible, you can get your hands on some of God's currency, right? And I don't mean kingdom currency, but I mean currency that God has placed into the world, right? He says in Haggai, the gold is mine and the silver is mine, said the Lord. Get your hands on some gold. Get your hands on silver or silver certificates, right? If you are, this is special insight and wisdom. If you are able, and everybody may not be able to do this, buy gold in also other forms. What I mean by that, you can. One of the reasons that a Rolex is so popular is they make a 24 karat gold watch. That watch will always have value, right? And so you can find gold pieces like that, gold coins, gold heirlooms, silver heirlooms that may have been passed down. I know back in the day, like my grandmother had silver serving dishes and silver teapots. Get your hands on those type of things, right? Because those are the type of things that you can be able to trade and you can be able to sell, right? If there comes a point, and there will come a point where the currency of this world is shifting, right? But those things will always be valuable because gold and silver can be used in so many different in various ways. It can be used technology, mechanics, to build things, and gold and silver can be used. It's been used for generation. Has been used for armor and weaponry. So get your hands on those types of things, right? Gold coins, silver dollars. Collect those. You keep them in a safe. Or I would just suggest you keep those in a safe in your home or in a safe deposit box in a bank. But keep them in a safe place to where you can have easy and quick access to those, right? And so, like I said, I may come back later to talk about currency and what the Lord revealed to me on that. But those some things I can tell you right now that you should do. But let's be in prayer for each other. Let's be in prayer for saints, Christians, and believers all across the world. We know we are all fighting different fights. We have one fight here in the United States. They have another fight over in Ethiopia, right? There's another fight for Christians over in China. So let's be in prayer together as believers. I see you soon. Love you. God bless. Remember, without faith, it's impossible to please God. Peace.